Welcome to another episode of Not for the Weak-Minded. Now, this is following from my previous videos about the dangers of technology and what the elite are doing to kill every single thing on this planet, including us. Now, this video is about the artificial sun, and now, as we all know, the sun plays a very important role in life, and this is part of the elite's agenda to recreate creation. Now, understanding that that's exactly what they're trying to do, actually in its own right proves that the earth is created in its own right, and that so is the real sun. But the real sun is technology, you see. And these technologies, these patents, which we're going to go through, are some way of trying to emulate it, just like they're trying to emulate everything else that the beings that created this world. In my opinion, the Galactic Federation created this world, and these beings came from that federation, but they broke the rules and now they have to stay here. Anyway, let's go to the patents. So the first one I found was in 1958. No, it wasn't hard to find these. All I did was type in Google artificial sun patents, and there you go, you find them. So we'll not go reading into it, but interestingly in this one, it's to do with two reflectors. Now, if you actually looked into the evidence of the artificial sun in the sky now, the evidence points to two reflectors. Now, albeit this one is to do with, radiotherapy using light, it's similar principle they're using, but on a much larger scale. Now, I noticed when we went down here, you looked into similar documents. Now, this is interesting. Shadowless projection systems, luminary optical assemblies. In the years that they were patented, they might not have had the technology to build these things, but they certainly do now, and they certainly have built these things now, and the evidence for it is overwhelming. What else can you see in here? Appliance for illuminating and photographing a surface of an object with reflecting areas. Yeah. Anyway, next patent. 1960, so 2 years later. And this one is a combination of only two kinds of elements, being reflectors and refractors. Now, I'm going to show you a picture in a bit that this looks eerily similar to. So bear that in mind. And let's just go down here. A radiant energy projector for projecting substantially parallel light and other radiant energy comprising a plurality of radiant energy sources, each of said sources having associated thereof of optical systems, said optical systems comprising of plurality of substantially identical optical assemblies, each of said sub-assemblies being composed of a plurality of optical elements. The optical elements of each sub-assembly most remote from its associated radiant energy source, defining the final optical axis of said sub-assembly. Obviously I can go into more of that, but the true things are in this, really. You should be reading this, but I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to scroll down that they've had a lot of these ideas in place for a long time, and they've done the research on small scales, and now they've upped the game, and they've put it out there. It's out there. We'll get into that. Let's see what similar documents this one's going to bring up. Projection type display. We're talking about Project Bluebeam, and now then they can create, this fake alien invasion, and now they can project things into the skies and stuff. Perhaps the sun's got a part. This fake sun can do a lot more than what we think it can. When the time's right, they're going to turn on certain things of it, and it can make certain things happen. Like project certain things, or turn up the radiation so it fries more things, or all sorts of things. I mean, it's got all sorts of capabilities, not just what it's currently being used for, which is killing all the animals and wildlife, along with all the barium and aluminium. So number one, 1963, and I'm not going into it, but again, let's just look on the bottom. More shadowless projection systems. I mean, that's interesting because there's things in our skies that are certainly being captured. Another thing that might be interesting that could be found on here is cloud projection technology and stuff like that, but laser ray based digital illuminator. I mean, a lot of these obviously are small applications, but they could be used on a large scale, which I'm no doubt they are. 1997, large area pulse solar simulator. So yeah, I'm not going to say anything. The point is that these patterns, they might not be used, they might not have been created, but proves that they've had ideas about it for a very long time. It's been their agenda to do this. So let's go to the next page. Multi-lamp solar simulator. Solar simulator including an array of lamps modules, wherein each lamp module of the array includes a lamp configured to generate light, a homogenizer having an input end and an output end, and a beam divergent lens positioned to focus the light onto the input end of the homogenizer, and an imaging lens positioned to receive the light from the output end of the homogenizer and image the light onto the target plane. You see what I was saying about the imaging lenses and stuff, that they could probably have like better, holographic capabilities and projection capabilities. Relates to illumination, and more particularly the artificial solar illumination. But again, I mean, I'm just showing you that there's patterns out there. Yeah, alright. Article, Telegraph. And can't remember what it was now. Well, 24th of March 2017, scientists in Germany have sunlight at the touch of a button, having successfully turned on the world's biggest solar simulator for the first time. So I know, they've built it. They've built one now, and they're showing you, turned it on, really works. The artificial light, which has been created from 149 power shot arc lamps, are just been tested out of German Aerospace Centre near Cologne. Researchers say the aim of this experiment is to improve the production process for solar fuels, including hydrogen, which they believe will be an important renewable source in the future. Yeah, right. Sunlight can produce light which is 10,000 times the intensity of solar radiation at the Earth's surface, while temperatures at the target point of the lamps can reach up to 3,000 degrees. So yeah, this solar, global warming and that. Could it be caused by the artificial sun as well? Heating up the Earth. Different temperatures. More radiation. So yeah, I notice how that looks very similar to the other pattern with the refractors. And there's an article about how NASA's patents were to use this in the 1950s to be Nibiru. Now, I was one person that fully believed Nibiru's real, Nibiru's out there, and that, it comes around every 3,600 years, and that, and Zecharia Sitchin's work, and now a lot of his work is good, and true, but this Nibiru thing is not the case. Now, I do believe that a lot of people that are going to believe Nibiru is real, because they have been pushing this in the news. They have been saying astronomers things out there, and there's things out there, and Nibiru could be one of them, Planet X or whatever, Wormwood or whatever. But knowing what I know now about cosmology and stuff, I guarantee this is going to be what it's been going to be used for. So the artificial sun is definitely going to be some kind of projection technology to make you believe in Nibiru coming and an alien invasion, So I'm just putting it out there to be careful that people that say Nibiru is real and that, because it isn't. And if it is anything, it's technology again. It is a spaceship of some kind. Anyway, moving on. So Russia's man-made sun begins to shine. Eminent scientists and astronomers are dismayed at Russian plans to unveil a mirror in space which could reflect sunlight onto the Earth during the night. On Thursday, astronauts on the orbiting Mir space station will unravel a mirror made of plastic coated in aluminium. Once deployed, it will be 25 meters across with a fan-like structure and able to shine light down to the Earth's surface. Well, I'm glad that explains why it didn't work then, because there's no, space station's not really up there. So, have you spotted it? Russia's artificial star set to light up the sky reaches orbit, but no one seems to be able to see it. I wonder why, because it's not real. Alright, moving on. And then, Russia's artificial star fails to deploy in orbit because it's not real. Didn't happen. The space station doesn't exist. Right, moving on. Chinese city plans to launch artificial moon to replace street lights. Now, this is a real thing. They are really doing this. In Chengdu, there is reportedly an ambitious plan afoot for replacing the city's streetlights, boasting the glow of the real moon with that of a more powerful fake one. Again, this also has to do with space, SpaceNet, or the grid, the power grid, which is going to be in low Earth orbit. So it's this China's move to start that movement, that agenda to move the power grid to lower Earth orbit technologies. Soon find out. The southwestern Chinese city planned to launch an illumination satellite in 2020. So a couple of years they can, and if they're launching it, then they've already built it probably, and it's already in development, and it's been around for a very long time, as I was saying. So it's nothing new that, according to an account in the People's Daily, the artificial moon is designed to complement the moon at night, though it would be 8 times as bright. Really. The dusk-like glow of the satellite would be able to light an area with a diameter of 10 to 80 kilometers, while the precise illumination range could be controlled within less 10 of meters, enabling it to replace street lights. So there is an agenda with this, no doubt, and this definitely has to do with the New World Order, and their plans of killing millions of people across this planet who don't agree with their. Well, put it this way: no one's going to agree with it because they plan to kill everyone. If you think you're part of their plan, you're not. They kill them to kill. Look at the Georgia Guidestones. Perpetual balance with nature, 500 million. These people are looking after themselves only. Anyway, so you can read about it yourselves if you want. And then, if you really want to go into it, there are other documentaries on YouTube. And so, thank you very much for watching. Just be careful out there. There's many things to get us. Goodbye. Oh. Please share and subscribe.